Linear games are great for busy people. They are relatively short and you don't spend hours just to figure out where to go next each time. Open worlds are cool, but when you start one, that's the only thing you play for months. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about 15 of my favorite linear story games that you can play right now. Dishonored 2. This immersive sim gives you the freedom to approach objectives your own way. It's a straightforward adventure, from start to finish, with standout moments like the Clockwork Mansion sequence. It's a mind-blowing blend of gameplay and visual trickery. The world of Corvo and Emily is truly unique, especially as we explore new regions. Dishonored 2 has a very amazing story and great gameplay. You can be a stealthy assassin or an absolute maniac, killing every single person you come across. I do like games that allow you to kill civilians with no penalty, because sometimes I like killing in video games. The gameplay is very polished and clean. It looks amazing to look at and the environment looks absolutely stunning. I just hope we get Dishonored 3 sometime soon.
Final nudge.
Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is a real star in gaming. Its story mode often gets overlooked but deserves big props. Back when lots of shooter games were going all in on multiplayer, Titanfall 2 dropped out of nowhere. Most single-player modes felt rushed or half-hearted, but not this one. It's a solid adventure that dives deep into the Titanfall world, making you feel for your pilot and their Titan buddy. Plus, it's not just about cool shootouts. There are some seriously epic moments, like a wild time travel part. Every hour, there's something new to keep you hooked. It might not be the longest game, but it's definitely about quality, not quantity. That's why I've got some major love for Titanfall 2. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Let's talk about Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The fast-paced gameplay is a blast. Action platformer mascot games aren't as common these days, but luckily, we got Rift Apart and it's fantastic. Like previous Ratchet & Clank games, it's a solid adventure from start to finish, with some planet hopping and freedom thrown in. It introduces a new character, who fits right into the mix without feeling forced. The adventure seamlessly fits into the Ratchet & Clank universe, adding depth to the lore and characters. Plus, it's just plain fun to play, from zipping between dimensions to trying out new gadgets and weapons. Mafia Definitive Edition. Mafia Definitive Edition is truly a gem. It is divided into chapters that can be completed in under 10 hours. It's an incredible experience. If you're a fan of The Godfather and GTA games, imagine the Godfather theme blended with the style of GTA, and you've got this game. The city and its surroundings are vibrant, beautiful, and steeped in history. While it's not entirely open world since missions start automatically after the last one ends, you still get to explore a significant portion of the world. The gameplay, reminiscent of GTA missions and shooting, is quite similar. There's also a free roam mode where you can explore the stunning city at your leisure. So at the end, Mafia Definitive Edition can be considered a straightforward 8 to 10 hour linear experience. Resident Evil Remake. Whether it's the remake of Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, or any other recent installment, the series has been on a solid streak. These games typically offer a linear, straightforward adventure experience. Sure, being survival horror games, there's some backtracking and clue hunting involved, but especially in Resident Evil 4, the pacing is brisk, constantly throwing you into new scenarios and areas. The adventure only gets wilder as you progress, making it a thrilling experience from start to finish. Whether you're playing the remakes of Resident Evil 2 or 3, or diving into Resident Evil 4, they all deliver top-notch single-player adventures. They were great originally, and with the remakes, they've only gotten better. Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5, I'd say that is the game which really stands alone. This is an incredibly crazy hack and slash action adventure where it is pure madness from the beginning to the end. It doesn't have any fluff or side quests because it has a level-based structure. A strange and disgusting horror game, filled with characters from different sides engaging in a dragon game which includes slashing, hacking, using guns and other weapons, in which you assume the role of the players and fight out the other characters, or engage them in the weirdness of the game. The diversity here is stunning, starting from character-specific arsenals and then fluid nature of the switching. On the combat system level of Devil May Cry 5, the game appears as a never-failing mechanism made for all sorts of gamers, from the beginner to the professional player. There are some fighting tricks that will definitely attract you. It's truly so enjoyable and great to try out. Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush is a must-try for everyone. If you're into cartoons, anime, action-packed hack-and-slash games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, and music, then this game is right up your alley. It's a blend of Devil May Cry combat and rhythm-based beat-em-up. You're encouraged to time your attacks to the beat for damage bonuses, and this rhythmic element infuses everything in the game world. The boss battles, synchronized to the beat, are some of the coolest sequences I've seen in a while. It's a straightforward, level-based game. You progress through each level, simple as that, reminiscent of the classics, yet it feels entirely fresh with its visual style and rhythm-based gameplay. Hi-Fi Rush is another standout title. Uncharted 4. Well, I am sure most of you might have already played this masterpiece, but Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake's final adventure. It's a compelling journey that differs from the bombastic nature of its predecessors, Uncharted 2 and 3. While it still features thrilling action set pieces, the focus here is on a story filled with heart, emotion, and relatable characters. Although Uncharted 4 introduces some exploration elements, it remains a linear game with a well-paced narrative. You'll traverse various locations and time periods, making for an engaging experience. Despite being a linear single-player game, it's surprisingly lengthy, offering plenty of content to sink your teeth into. And let's not forget how stunning it looks, even to this day. Naughty Dog really nailed it with Uncharted 4. Guardians of the Galaxy. While several other superhero games such as the Batman Arkham series or Spider-Man games prefer open-world gameplay, this game is refreshingly simple. It is a level-based adventure that allows you to become Star-Lord, and even control the other Guardians too. The game takes you into the peculiar Marvel Comics universe to engage in the foolish but enchanting cosmic aspects of it. This fun third-person shooter adventure will take you through different planets and introduce you to all kinds of strange happenings. However, beneath all the action lies a very strong storyline. Though it shares similarities with James Gunn's films, they go more in depth as far as characters are concerned, explaining their personalities and relationships in significant ways. With engrossing boss battles and a fulfilling climax, Guardians of the Galaxy provides an amazing experience. So, when this game was announced you were slightly hesitant, don't underestimate it, try it out yourself to see how awesome it really is. A Plague Tale. The two games Innocence and Requiem. Not your typical action games. Instead, they concentrate more on storytelling and stealth. You play as a 15-year-old girl, together with her brother as they try to survive in Europe infested with rats. I mean, it's like The Last of Us, but instead you have rats as zombies. You are just a young girl trying to take care of your little brother. You have to be sly with it, employing your wit and a trusty slingshot to run away from hordes of rats that infest eerie places, while also steering clear of soldiers who are looking for trouble. The second game spices things up a bit with more combat as the girl gets older. But most importantly, what sets these games apart is their narratives. It is about the characters and their bonding throughout their encounter with horrifying situations in their world. Few games nowadays are made this way, but it is nice to see some studios keeping such traditions alive. Consequently, these games provide a unique adventurous experience that will stay with players long after they have quit playing. Until Dawn. Until Dawn is just an amazing game. I've played it and watched it countless times, and it never fails to entertain and scare me. I wish more games were made with this level of quality and length, and with such a great plot. I also tried playing Man of Medan, which was fun, but it didn't have the same level of effort put into it as Until Dawn. The voice acting in Until Dawn is top-notch, and the graphics are impressive. The plot is intriguing, especially with the tragic villain and the terrifying Wendigo monster. In contrast, Man of Medan's plot felt a bit weak since it was just based on hallucinations. I know the developers worked really hard on Until Dawn, and it's disappointing to see them potentially getting lazier with their games. I'd love to see them make another game with the same quality as Until Dawn, or even an Until Dawn 2, although I doubt they would do it. Regardless, Until Dawn is one of the best game ever. It's almost 10 years old, but it never gets old. The game starts off with simple pranks and jump scares, but it gets better and better as you progress. Finding all the clues and piecing together the story is so satisfying. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I can say that Jedi Survivor is worthy of my expectations after 60 hours or so. I do love the first game, and I am a fan of it. Jedi Survivor has a lot to offer visually, and it is indeed breathtaking. The same thing goes for Fallen Order. The attention to details is amazing to me as I get deeper into the Star Wars world, to each planet having its own atmosphere. Exploration is just like being in a fairyland. For gameplay, the game doesn't deviate hugely from the first title, but it does have some interesting novelties like more combat skills and perks. The development team took a good decision in that they kept Cal's mechanics from the first game, making movement feel natural and natural. Furthermore, the feature of fast travel will help you to get to the meditation points conveniently, and although the travel between the planets may take a while, this will be especially true for completionists. The additional content you can choose to play with feels natural and seamlessly clicks into the gameplay, which is a good point. The plot is rightfully worth the experience, even though it may seem to be a bit foreseeable at certain instances. It is a great addition to the game. However, I think the first one was much more intensely dark. In spite of this, the final episode of Survivor makes a lot of sense and it is impossible to look away, although I personally would have wished for more by the end. In the gameplay department, Survivor is not too different from its predecessor, but it does incorporate some beneficial additions, like advanced fighting skills and perks. It was right to do that, for the movement here to feel so natural and smooth. Furthermore, the quick travel from one meditation spot to another simplifies the way players navigate, although the travel between planets can still be a bit of a hassle, especially for those who like to get all the collectibles. The option content is unnatural and does not disrupt the flow of the game, but a nice addition to the gaming experience. Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2, which is the much-anticipated sequel, is well worth the wait. It takes games to the next level, a level that is beyond the ordinary. The artistry in this title is magnificent, from the stunning graphics and engaging narration, and the unrivaled level of presentation that made my playthrough an ecstatic experience throughout. From the point of view of game mechanics, Alan Wake 2 combines the openness and linearity. Although the map is spacious and is overfilled with things that can be explored, the flow of events is linear and the story follows a very strict path. It can be both a benefit and a burden, since at times it may cause irritation when the player is faced with the objectives that need a certain prerequisite which isn't clearly designed. Nevertheless, the disadvantages are not dominant as the overall experience of the trip remains to be interesting and vibrant. In a nutshell, I strongly suggest to all gamers to play Alan Wake 2 to be swept by its high-quality story flow. Its distinctive mix of storytelling depth, atmosphere creation, and diligent attention to the detail makes it one of the best games, which must be played and appreciated. The Order 1886. This game feels a lot like a movie more than a typical video game experience, but that's okay. First off, the most notable pro to this game is the presentation. Not only is it absolutely stunning for its time, even in 2024, but the soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. Rather than being a game about skill, strategy, or extremely intense action, it's more like an interactive cinematic experience. As most people have stated before, the game is rather short and can be finished within a day. With that said though, this is one of those games where execution was rather satisfying. Even though there are so many unanswered questions in this game, I feel it was more geared with the intention of making a sequel to the game rather than being intentionally vague and confusing. What makes this game so good isn't about the game's style, but the fact that at the end, there's so much to be desired. So yeah, this game is definitely worth a shot.
Rebels neutralized.
Tomb Raider Trilogy. The Tomb Raider Survivor reboot is one of the best linear games out there, even though there are a lot of open sections in the game like Uncharted 4, and even a lot more in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You can just completely ignore it and continue the adventure. The whole trilogy is really good. Even though many people like it, I wish more did because it's amazing. The acting and graphics are awesome, the story is great, and Lara is a strong main character. There's a lot of emotion in the story, and the fighting and puzzles are fun. The bad guys weren't my favorite part, but they're still okay. Overall, it's a fantastic series that keeps getting better with each game. If you want something to really get into and enjoy, this trilogy is a solid pick. Well everyone, please subscribe if you enjoyed my list.